we've finally gotten to the point where we can simplify rational expressions. So what we're going to do is we're going to simplify these complex rational expressions. We're going to first of all state our non-permissible values before we cancel out our times with our divides. Okay, so this is important that we do. So we need to state before we cancel factors. Okay, so that's very important. Okay, so that's the first thing we're going to do is we're going to factor this. So I'm going to factor this into greatest common factor, x times x minus 2. Two numbers that multiply to negative 10 have a difference of 3 are going to be x plus 5, x minus 2. So I need to make sure I state my restrictions on x first. So x cannot be equal to negative 5 and positive 2. Okay, that's going to divide by 0. Once I've done that, I can now cancel the factors. So always state your non-permissible values before we cancel the factors. So in canceling the factors, we're left with 4 on top, x plus 5 on bottom. Okay. For this one here, again, we need to factor this. This does have a leading coefficient. However, we should always think of factoring greatest common factor first. So there's a 5, 5, and 5. So I'm going to factor the 5 first. And this becomes a much easier quadratic to simplify. I'm going to factor out the common factor of 10 here. Okay, so those are my factors here. That 5 over 10 will simplify. Let's factor everything first. So I end up with 5, x minus 1, x minus 1, 10, x minus 3, x minus 1. Okay, always state your non-permissible values before you cancel. So x cannot be equal to positive 3, positive 1. Once I've stated my non-permissible values, I can simplify. Okay, times and divide cancel out. Times 5, divide 5 cancels out, and I'm left with divide by 2. So my final simplified expression then is going to be x minus 1 on top. 2 times x minus 3 factors are left in the bottom. So here's the same thing. Now we're dealing with a leading coefficient. Okay, so if you're good at factoring, you may not need to use a grid, but I'm going to use a grid here. So I need to know how to split up that middle negative xy. So I have 2x squared, negative y squared. My cross diagonal product is negative x squared, y squared. Okay, it needs to add to negative 1 multiplied to negative 2. Well, that's going to be negative 2xy positive 1xy. Okay, so that cross diagonal product will equal the same as the cross diagonal product I found here. So factoring this, I end up with 2x. This looks like it's going to be just y. Here it's going to be just x. And this looks like it's negative y. Okay, so I end up with 2x plus y and x minus y. So 2x plus y, x minus y. The denominator looks like two numbers that multiply to negative 5 have a difference of 4. It's going to be plus 5 and x minus 1y. Okay, so I factored it. So now I want to look in the denominator. Okay, and take a look at I need to state my restrictions before I cancel. So I'm going to say that x is not equal to negative 5y. It looks like here x cannot be equal to y. So those are my restrictions. I can cancel out times with a divide, and now I have my simplified version, which is 2x plus y over x plus 5y. Okay, so there represents my final simplified version of this expression.